This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And here it is, another week in the X-Zone. Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone had a super holiday. Well, a super weekend anyway. We're coming to you live from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network, Radio X across Europe, and, of course, the X-Zone Broadcast Network. If you'd like to check us out online, www.xzoneradiotv.com is our website. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And the broadcast website for the X-Zone Broadcast Network is xzbn.net. What a great show we have lined up for you folks tonight. My first guest is Solaris BlueRaven. She is a published author, producer, writer, editor, and public speaker with a professional background in covert technology, surveillance, investigative research, and healing modalities and technology. She is known for her experience as a test pilot for synthetic telepathy black projects, of which she discloses in her book series, Eyes of the Remote. She is a world-class psychic, clairvoyant, remote viewer, and system buster for MK Ultra related programs. She is also a certified second-degree black belt and has extensive background in advanced sciences and mystical alchemy. You know, for more information, X-Zone Nation, on this truly amazing young lady, visit her site at www.nightshadowanomalydetectives.com. And Solaris BlueRaven, welcome to the X-Zone.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
My goodness, where do you find time to do everything?
Well, I just go fast forward, go full speed ahead, and get things done.
Okay, where did you get your experience in the covert technology surveillance industry?
Well, the covert technology was a program I was pulled into in 2004, where I was pulled into a program involving synthetic telepathy and psychotronic warfare. And I pretty much had to learn to decode all this technology and figure out what was going on with me, because it pulled me in to a project inside my home. So literally I was triangulated inside my house with the technology itself. And I can go into details about that, but that's what happened to me. So I had to dive in and literally learn how to decode the technology.
Whose technology did you have to decode?
Well, this is the technology connected to covert intelligence in the Black Sciences Department. It's satellite driven, so when you get triangulated as a target, they pretty much interface you into the artificial intelligence communication system, which is live feed, real time, deals with artificial telepathy, and all kinds of other things.
Why you?
Why me is a very good question, but I think at the time when I was pulled in, I was a good candidate for the technology itself. There were some high-profile people involved in the technology, so it seemed to me like I fit the profile for what they were looking for insofar as being a test pilot for some of the artificial intelligence programs that they were running.
Which member of the alphabet soup in the United States do you believe is behind this covert activity?
Well, there's quite a few actually, and there's some. I won't mention them on your station, but there's some high-profile bands involved. One in particular, and also the alphabet agencies are all of them just about. I mean, CIA is notorious for mind control and MK Ultra related programs, but we also have other black sciences and divisions that are very much involved in this technology. So pretty much every single division in the alphabet agency has a tentacle of the technology itself, You can look at DOD and you can look at DARPA and some other things. And what they disclose to the mass collective is literally just a little portion of what they're really doing behind the scenes.
Based on your experience, based on your research, based on your personal experiences and the information that you've been able to learn, what is their nefarious reason for doing this?
Well, from my personal experience, it's for recruitment, for training, for possible Manchurian programming. It can be used for all kinds of different sci-fi technologies. But all in all, it's my opinion that I believe that they're using it for mass mind control and also entrainment programming to pretty much encapsulate people to a point where they're going to be integrated into the transhumanism program. So that's what I'm seeing down the road.
What proof have you got of this?
The proof I have is in my documentary DVD, Either Remote, A Disclosure in Covert Technology. So if anybody wants to purchase that, it's on the Night Shadow Anomaly Detectives. But I literally go through the process of what happened to me in 2004, the parties involved who inducted me, technologies used, and also there's an implant analysis scan which shows these signal anomalies that I still have to this day from 2004. So that's the main smoking gun, is the technology itself is inside. I have technology inside of me.
All right, but has this technology been acknowledged by members of the scientific community, the members of the intelligence community?
Well, it's been acknowledged by people who are scientists who actually did the implant analysis scan. It has been looked at by shadow lawyers that I have that worked for NSA Signals Intelligence. So yeah, it has in indirect fashion. However, those parties are not going to come out and tell you anything.
Why not?
Because they're literally trying to conceal a lot of data. It's obfuscation on purpose.
All right, stand by. We've got to take our first break. X-Zone Nation. Our guest this hour is Solaris BlueRaven. The website is nightshadowanomalydetectives.com. And we'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue around the world from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and Talkstar Radio Network. Don't go away. Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
Exonation, Solaris BlueRaven is our special guest. Her website is nightshadowanomalydetectives.com. BlueRaven, Solaris, I'm sorry. Before we went to the commercial break, we were talking about your implants. The implants that you have, are they like the implants that Dr. Roger Lear and Daryl Sims were working on going back 20, 25 years ago that they said were alien implants?
They're not physical insofar as the type of implants that were removed surgically, and that was Steve Colburn that was working with Dr. Roger Lear too as well, and he was actually one of the people that did the implant analysis scan. These are signals, they're transmissions and frequencies that literally act like a neural web. I mean, they interconnect onto the neural centers of the brain and actually are more like a transhumanism signal to some degree.
All right,
it's like heterodyning, in other words.
Okay, for our listeners who may not know what transhuman configuration or the entire transhuman genre is, can you explain it to them?
Right. Well, transhumanism, the objective to this whole thing is to literally merge man with machines. So what they're doing is literally they're mapping the electromagnetic field, the neural circuitry of the brain, your entire four-body system, your vitals, and they interconnect all of this technology and information in a brain template onto an artificial intelligence program. And what they'll do is they'll interconnect you and interface you with the technology itself. But usually when that happens, they start with a live handler real time to calibrate you to dialogue, which is artificial telepathy based. Once that dialogue is established and you run through a program, which is literally what they do is they'll run a program on you, then you get interfaced into the technology itself, which is just about you being merged with this machine technology. And that's done through usually satellite-driven technologies and signals and transmissions. So it's we are very compatible with machines, I must say, unfortunately.
So tell me, how would somebody who is listening tonight anywhere on this beautiful planet of ours know if they have been targeted?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of hoopla when people say they hear voices, quote-unquote voices in their head. You have to look at that on a very different level, because if people are hearing a communication, it's usually muck radio. It usually deals with artificial telepathy, synthetic telepathy, they can call it, or the old days they used to call it V2K. So I would say if you're hearing anything like that, or you feel like you're being interconnected with the communication system nonstop, you need to get checked for an implant analysis scan to see what's going on, if there's a signal that's incoming, if there's something interconnecting onto you. And most people would know right away because it's very abnormal. It's not the norm at all.
So would this be done with a, let's say, an MRI scan?
MRIs probably won't pick it up. I know there's other types of systems you can use, spectrometers, a lot of different devices that you can use to scan the electromagnetic field. And there are a lot of different scientists out there who are willing to do that. So they can literally just do a sweep from radio signals on and see if they can pick up a signal. But
what are the chances that a single cell carrier could actually trigger off this same signal and give a false reading?
Well, that's highly possible, and a lot of the problems that we're running into right now is that a lot of these there is ultra low frequency communication systems, and in the old days they used to have the Gwen towers, which would actually distribute signals, and actually they used it for gaslighting and gang stalking for targeted individuals. So you do have all these different types of signal anomalies, but usually when you're being interconnected with a program, you can tell, because first of all, it's not your cell phone, it's not something in your house, it's literally you become this target, you become the transmission and the signal. So you'll know very just right away, you'll be able to tell that you're being interconnected to the program or something.
I'm still having a bit of a problem trying to understand how anyone would know that.
With what now?
How anyone would actually know that they are connected.
Well, literally, the reason they'll know they're connected is because there's a communication that's involved. When you get connected with this technology, they usually want to communicate with you with artificial telepathy. In other words, when people get indoctrinated or pulled into a program, it's for programming to some degree. It's for entrainment. It's for something that they want to get out of the target. So most of the time, there's going to be an interaction. It's not just going to be smooth sailing. There are people that I have heard of that do have the physical implants that are more like RFID chips that are literally just a tagging system and a tracking system that don't interact much with them. However, from what I understand, they can cause health issues down the road. So that's something to look at as well.
Would synthetic technology be like remote viewing?
It's very much like the covert militarized version of remote viewing, because what they're doing is they're interfacing you with artificial intelligence so that you're the eyes and ears and the sci-fi of the technology. So when you're abroad somewhere, you can literally interact and be able to see things and get more upgraded insofar as enhancement goes with the satellite communication system. So you almost have what we call super soldier ability. So yeah, you can literally see beyond the spectrum of most people as a regular soldier on the battlefield, especially with that kind of technology. I don't think they talk about it much.
But if that technology is available today, why isn't it being used in non-intelligence theaters? For example, home electronics, automobile electronics, and so on.
Well, I think they are using it to some degree. If you take a look around and see what's going on with Facebook and Zuckerberg, he's very interested in synthetic telepathy for communications with other people on Facebook. So that's something that they're looking into, but they're treating it like virtual reality right now. They haven't really calibrated people to the interconnection program where they're actually connected to another person, and also through the array system. So that does happen. But it's there. It's in the Black Science Department, and you'd be surprised. It's going to be, I would say they're going to pretty much reveal it very, very soon, because you're seeing more and more of this technology coming forward. Artificial intelligence is a really big deal right now, and a lot of people like Elon Musk and a lot of others are really diving into these corridors.
So what authority do these people have by playing God?
They don't have any authority, and that's what makes me very angry about it. To be honest with you, that's why I wrote the book, I, the Remote Black Operations and Areas Beyond 52, because what they did to me was pretty much zero out my life. I mean, I didn't give them permission to pull me into these programs. They just inducted me into the program and pulled me through these projects. So I think it's a violation of free will. It's a violation of who we are as what I call multidimensional beings, and way beyond the spectrum of what we do here. So it has to be regulated, and that's my biggest concern, is that people are going to get interconnected with these programs, and to some degree they're going to get invaded by a technology that's really designed to control, manipulate their brainwave activity. It's not in the highest good for their evolution. It's not being used that way anyway.
All right. So how have you been used as an agent for this nefarious use?
I was originally, when I was being inducted into the Covert program, I was used for a lot of the sci-spy technology insofar as being handled by my handler with eyes, ears, but literally he was seeing through my eyes, hearing through my ears, everything. It was just a sci-fi technology where pattern recognition was included, a lot of serial numbers, a lot of things that were connected to remote viewing and visualization, but also connecting into different timelines insofar as being able to go into different corridors or spaces here on this world, but also have somebody shadowing you and training you insofar as targeting. And when I say targeting, it's as if they're using you as a weapons system to navigate around the place you work or where you walk. It's literally a sci-spy technology. So most of the stuff that they ran through me was sci-spy oriented, which was all about being able to create a feedback program connected to what they wanted to extract from where they were, using me as the host, if that makes sense at all.
So it almost sounds as if it's something right out of the sci-fi movie genre, something that you'd expect to see in a movie like The Matrix.
Right. Well, it's exactly like that. And this is what's really interesting. Usually Hollywood will deploy a movie to kind of calibrate people to what's really happening behind the scenes in the Black Sciences Department. Well, that's what's happening here. And what happened to me, this was back in 2004. They've made leaps and bounds since then. Mm-hmm. So now we have more and more of this stuff going on. So it's, if you see it in Hollywood, it's already been done, chances are.
So how did your part in this covert operation, how did it affect your life?
Well, it destroyed my life. I was happily married, doing land surveying with my husband at the time, and teaching martial arts classes and doing healing work and writing, and I had a great life. So when I was pulled into this program, which was done inside my house, by the way, they pretty much indoctrinate you and pull you in and induct you through a satellite-driven technology. So you get pulled into the program and you get interfaced. And with me, I literally went into trauma. My body went into trauma. I was in shock because of the artificial telepathy program. I've never experienced anything like that in my entire life. So when I got pulled into that, it pretty much zeroed out my entire relationship and everything that I held close to my heart. And unfortunately, I wrote a book about it because in 4 months' time, I wasn't married anymore. They had thwarted me out of there and planted me over on Maui so that they could train me and program me even further.
Did they train you in person, or was this all done via satellite?
It was done via satellite live feed real time, and then in person I saw my handler twice. And that was a not very positive thing because I had to eventually testify against him in 2006 in the courtroom, which is also on record.
Was your handler ever identified as a government agent?
He has contracts with military. He has contracts with police departments. He has contracts with D.C. and in the Middle East. Yes, he works with cyber warfare departments and he has a lot of access to covert communication systems, which deals with the artificial telepathy. And one thing I wanted to point out with the artificial telepathy, it's very advanced for like the sci-spy is like Secret Service beyond Secret Service. This is for people who are really into the deep surveillance states, because what they can do is not need a headset or a cell phone or anything. They can just literally be wired for the communication system. It can become very convenient on that level when you're using it properly, but they don't use it that way anymore.
But with all the technology that's accessible to the alphabet soups of the United States, why would they have to use unsuspected American citizens? And isn't this a violation of your rights?
It certainly is. That's one of the reasons I testified in court, and I had an NSA lawyer involved because, it's literally not appropriate. A lot of the time, I know these people have been interfaced with the technology themselves. What I think they're looking for are people with certain specific abilities and skills. If they fit a certain profile and a certain candidate for a technology. For example, when they pulled me into the program, I had done a lot of spiritual work on myself. I don't know how familiar you are with light body and Merkaba and spiritual paths, but I was vibrating at a very high frequency. I had been doing a lot of really powerful work, and with that comes an expanded light body, expanded aura, expanded multidimensional design, electromagnetic field. It was a lot easier for them to interface me with the artificial telepathy project. All they had to do was open up a communication system and communicate. And with me, there wasn't any static, so it was just smooth communication. So I think that's one of the reasons, also my martial arts background.
Why didn't they also pick your husband?
I don't know. Quite honestly, I'm not sure. Maybe they were looking for a female. But I do know that he was affected to some degree by the technology and the array system that they used in the house, because he wasn't making sense when I left, and it was almost like he was having a breakdown as well. I mean, we were both just in different orbits. I was getting swept away, and he was just in another world as well. So, there was something going on there.
How long had you guys been married?
We were married about 9 years. I mean, we had lived together, and then we were married, and, we were soulmates. He was my soulmate, so.
Any children?
No, I raised a stepdaughter, and I had a stepson in the process. And like I said, that was my life. That was my family. And being ripped away from that is just I can't explain it, but it's not forgivable. Let's put it that way.
Now, you mentioned Bali or Maui. Why there?
Well, they asked, go to a place of your choosing where I can get to you, live feed real time, and that's the place I went. And that's the place where Michael Mosbach showed up. And that's when we started communicating about the technology.
Did they pay for your trip to Maui?
No, they did not. I paid for everything.
Why would you do that?
Because I was in a state of trauma at the time. I was being completely controlled and manipulated through the communication system. And I know it sounds strange, but when you get overtaken by this remotely controlled, I wasn't even making rational decisions at all at the time. I was literally just following instruction. And it's really sad when you see this stuff happening, but literally when you're getting interconnected with the artificial telepathy, the live handler's taking over everything. They're taking over your vitals. They're taking over your hands. They can animate your body. Very, very strange technology. I know it sounds really out there. If you read the book, the Remote Black Operations Series Beyond 52, you'll be able to understand it. But they do call it remote brain hacking. That's another terminology they use. And when you get hit with these projects, hold on, because if most people don't even make it through these programs, as far as I can tell.
Is there any danger that the current president of the United States has already been taken over by these people?
I don't know about that. I don't have any information on that at all, but I will tell you that's something that they're familiar with. I know that. I know DC is very familiar with the technology. I know that when I was pulled in 2004, the Bush administration was very much involved in what had happened to me. So they're clear on this artificial telepathy program. And as a matter of fact, they're very interested in expanding with artificial intelligence, as I said, and also the transhumanism, because the transhumanism is about immortality to them. I mean, they think they can live forever in these communication systems, but really it's just a dead end to nowhere.
Wow. Stand by, young lady. You and I have to take another break. We'll be back after the word from our sponsors and the news break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation, our guest this hour is Solaris BlueRaven, and her website is www.nightshadowanomalydetectives.com. And we'll both be back on the other side of this break with the news as we continue investigating the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here in the X Zone, as we have been doing for 26 years now, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, across Europe on Radio X, and of course our good friends on the Talkstar Radio Network. Don't go away. Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A Soul Balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world. There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the 4 corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting the sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Solaris BlueRaven is our special guest. She is a published author, producer, writer, editor, and public speaker with a professional background in covert technology, surveillance, investigative research, healing modalities, and technology. Her website, www.nightshadowanomalydetectives.com. When you were having all these initial problems, did you seek medical help?
No, I knew I was dealing with technology. And also I went into trauma. So it wasn't about going to somebody that was going to make the situation worse. It was more about realizing that I was dealing with a technological issue and a brain hack, and also being able to try to navigate through this with my own wits and spirituality and a close circle of friends, and also a lot of investigative research. And I was lucky enough to have encountered a lawyer who was ex-NSA Signals Intelligence, who was a benefit as well.
How did you know that you were being brain hacked? Like, had you had any previous knowledge of this? Had you done any research into it? What was the firing mechanism that made you come to the conclusion, without seeking professional help, that you were being used covertly, that you were being brain hacked?
Well, what's real interesting is that when you're on the path of spirit, when you do mystical work like I do, you know consciousness, you understand the levels of consciousness. You also understand what natural telepathy is, or natural lucid vision is, and those sort of natural fluid things that are in alignment with the multiverse. With this type of thing, it's really harsh. First of all, they inducted me in my bedroom at night. So when they pulled in the communication system, they literally felt like they were beaming and opening up a communication, like almost like punching a hole through your brain. You can literally tell, and literally interfacing artificial intelligence, artificial telepathy communication system life feed. It's very abrasive. The other thing they did when they put the signal in my chest cavity, which was measured in my documentary, it felt like I had a laser beam hitting my chest cavity. It was a lot of pain, a lot of pressure. And the exact location where I had it looked at, someone who was doing radionics checked it for me. It looked like I had a big gash that was opened up outside, inside my chest cavity. So literally, I could tell, because first of all, you don't just go and all of a sudden have a normal marriage, happy lifestyle, teach martial arts, very spiritually sound and grounded, to going from there to getting hit with this technology and then being chased and harassed out of your house. And also I had live plants in the area that were literally handing me CDs and said, be careful what you listen to. They were all around pushing me, and stalking me out of my house.
Excuse this question, but prior to that, had you had ever gone to see a psychiatrist or a psychotherapist for any reason?
No, I'm very grounded. I'm very stable. And another thing is, you have to realize I'm a second-degree black belt. I'm a martial artist. So, I don't know if you know much about martial arts, but it's body, mind, and spirit. We're very grounded and analytical. Also coming from the surveying background, even on my spiritual side, I've always been very grounded. So I didn't have any issues like that at all. As a matter of fact, when I first got hit with the program, my husband thought that my doctor had drugged me with something, because it's unnatural for me to not communicate, because everything was artificial telepathy interface. So it was a very, very strange thing. And if you knew us at all, we didn't do drugs or alcohol. We were both athletes. We both trained and did road races. No, we're very normal people, what I consider to be normal.
Have you always talked so fast?
That's part of the interference program they ran. That's part of the artificial telepathy interface, unfortunately. When I was pulled into the project, Live Feed Real Time, what they'll do is they'll try to back you up in communication to run you over so that they can edit and censor what you have to say. And I wouldn't let them do that, so I started speeding up and talking faster to combat the communication system. So now I talk a little bit faster than I normally would.
What would have happened if you would have worn some protective clothing, for example, something that on your head that would not allow the penetration of the technology from a satellite?
I'm not sure about that, because I just don't know offhand. I do know that I've worked around, and I haven't worked them, but I know people who built the space shuttles, and they asked me to come into their offices where it was a Faraday cage, and they would do checks, and nothing would ever clear that or stop the communication or the signals that were transmitting. So I can tell you, I'm not sure how that would have impacted me. I do know that once they triangulate you and they target you and they start running the communications and they interconnect you onto the program, it's very, very hard to disable the technology, especially when it starts to do the neural weaving into your neural circuits, because that's like a hybridization. It's almost like an overlay onto your brain template.
How about underwater?
Underwater, when I was on Maui, I did a little bit of float tanks here and there, and I never noticed anything blocking anything at all, quite honestly. I guess it depends on how deep you go. But the tanks didn't seem to do anything.
It's rather strange that satellite technology can go through water.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's an awful lot of things that they can do that would very much surprise you when it comes to the Black Science Department. Well, there are a lot of things out there that haven't even begun to be deployed, but I do think they are going to be deployed soon. And when we're having this conversation now, I bet you about a year or two from now, it won't even seem strange to you.
So the way that they inducted you at night in your home, could this also be what people who claim they're being abducted by aliens are actually encountering, that there's nothing alien about it, that this is truly a terrestrial covert operation that is going on?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I actually touched on that in my book, Either Remote, Black Operations Series Beyond 52, because a lot of what we call the contactees, what happens is the military abductions, the MILABs, they'll take these contactees and they'll pull them into covert programs and interconnect them onto a similar technology that I was exposed to for what we call psychotronic driving systems, where they can have false visuals and false scenarios play out into their heads like virtual scenes, yet it's all interconnected by artificial intelligence. So these people can get pulled in, think they've gone somewhere, think they've had an experience with an extraterrestrial, when in fact it's been a military covert operation, and they won't know the difference because some of them probably haven't done the research. I've done enough research over the years, and I've talked to developers of this technology. I've talked to Dr. Robert Duncan, who specializes in warfare programs. So I understand very clearly what we're dealing with here. And yeah, you're absolutely correct.
How does this connect with MK Ultra?
It's actually a spin-off of MK Ultra, because back in the old days with MK Ultra, they would put people, well, they'd pick you up physically, take you into an area where they would pretty much control and manipulate you using tactics of abuse in all forms and designs, a lot of electroshock therapy and things like that, and force and train you to create, to overlay and create what we call a heterodyning program, where they're literally creating an alter personality to overlay onto your normal personality. Nowadays, they can do it easily through remote communication systems where they don't even have to pull you away from your home. I mean, they can triangulate you anywhere across the globe. It's just like having a GPS or anything else. So yeah, it's a little more dangerous now. This is the unseen beast that I think people need to know about, and I'm sure more people are getting up to speed on it.
What do you know about Dr. Ewan Cameron?
Is he the one that started the MK Ultra over there in your area?
Actually, he was the president of the Psychiatric Association for Canada and the United States.
He was under the impression he was involved in MK Ultra as well, but
he was.
Okay, so yeah, that's about all I know about him. I haven't done a whole lot into his area, but I am familiar with the fact that they did use certain tactics and different programs on people, and a lot of people are affected in the United States with old MK Ultra programs, from what I understand.
Yeah, here in Canada they used LSD and sleep deprivation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they do that too, except nowadays they won't let you sleep through the communication system. It's like when they pulled me into the artificial telepathy, they were constantly talking, communicating. My life handler real time was constantly programming. They were running so much information and data streams on me that I literally couldn't sleep at night. They didn't want me resting. They said you have to sleep in your clothes and you have your bags packed and you have to wait for us to come pick you up. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the programs they were running. So, and this is not, a psychotic break. This is literally being interconnected into a covert program.
Once again, for what purpose?
For indoctrination, for programming, sometimes for re-education, for entrainment or recruitment. What I have noticed is that they use it for a lot of recruitment. Insofar as sci-spy technology, as I touched on earlier, it makes the perfect sci-spy, because you can walk into any government office, you can walk anywhere, you'll be wired with the communication system. It's really hard to detect for the most part. You'll have a live feed communications hookup interconnected in with your handlers, operators, controllers, and programmers. This works better than anything you could possibly imagine. Of course they're going to use it.
And do you believe this?
Well, I've experienced it, so I can tell you. I know it sounds bizarre. Trust me, I get that. If I didn't understand this stuff, it's funny because I would have never thought about this stuff. I would have never thought it existed in my entire life had I not been pulled into it, to be honest with you. I had no idea synthetic telepathy existed or any of these programs.
So do you think the President of the United States and the Secretary of Defense and the Director of the Secretary of Homeland Security actually know that these type of operations are being conducted on American citizens?
They have to know. I can't imagine them not knowing. If I know about it, and I've been able to decode this, darn well they're able to do this as well, and they have access to the technology. A lot of the time, I don't think they talk about it because it works. They're using it for experimentation and testing to some degree on a populace. And now, from what I understand, there are more and more people across the globe in other countries who are getting indoctrinated into covert programs. So it's a big problem. I have addressed the White House recently about this, by the way. I'm hoping to hear back from them. I don't know how that's going to roll, but I did address it because I think it's a violation and it has to be addressed. We are not designed to sit here and be indoctrinated into programs where we're getting our brainwaves tweaked by technology that we didn't approve of.
I agree. If it's happening, it has to stop. Mm-hmm. Mind you, if it's happening in the United States, it's happening everywhere else in the world.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know, because I've assisted a lot of people with what we call targeted individuals and MK Ultra oriented people who have contacted me in the past, and also have been a lot of people out of Germany, a lot of people over there in those areas who have been hit with covert programs.
So why doesn't the government use this to squash the terrorist threat?
Well, actually, I think they're creating terrorists, to be honest with you. I think they're creating sleeper cells through these programs. Just my own research in general, because it's a Manchurian program. So you're dealing with literally indoctrinating or inducting somebody into a program where you're trying to create an alter or a split in their personality so you can program it to activate at some point in the continuum. So I'm looking at it as, I think this is their warfare program, quite honestly. I think that they experiment on a lot of people to see what they can tweak and what they can't tweak, or who they controls, or who they can control and who they can't. But I'm very concerned about what they're doing with this behind the scenes. And I think that anybody's susceptible, because they all have cell phones and they're already getting kind of calibrated to technology, even through the cell phone.
Yeah, smart cars make stupid people. That's my saying.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Yeah, I like it.
So what do you think is behind the entire scenario? Is it just the transhuman evolution? Is it just the desire to live forever, or are there more nefarious, deep, dark secrets?
It's mass mind control. In my opinion, I think it's about indoctrinating everybody into a covert program where they can control and manipulate brainwaves into a hive collective for mass enslavement. That's what I see, like a no world order agenda. I call them no world order, but the new world order agenda. I see it as that. If it gets out of control to that level, I think that they would be arrogant enough to deploy it on that level, for sure.
So how does anyone protect themselves?
Well, from what I understand, I mean, there are technologies that are out there supposedly that you can use to deflect attacks. I know radionics is a good one to kind of broadcast out transmissions and signals that are incoming. However, as I mentioned earlier, when you're triangulated by these technologies, it's very, very hard to evade, because you're an electrical being. We are electrical. We're conductors of energy. We're transmitters and receivers naturally. So when they interconnect us onto these programs, it's very simple to do. It's really not rocket science. It's just that they're able to do this, and we really can't run and hide from it to some degree, from what I've experienced. And I've worked with a lot of technologies. I've worked with Tesla coils and some other things. I understand that there are certain EMP pulses that we could possibly use to disrupt these signals, but that also, you run the risk of killing the host. So you have to be careful.
Have you ever gone to the police and filed a complaint, or talked to somebody?
I went to everybody
in
in 2004. I went to everybody you can imagine in covert intelligence, government, FBI, CIA, NSA, everybody on the map, and contacted so many people I can't even begin to tell you. So yeah, nobody did anything. And a lot of the time, after I had a conversation with my lawyer, because he saw my documentary and wanted to go after the people who have been doing this indoctrination and induction, and he realized later on that he couldn't do it because it's such a black science that we can't go there anymore, is what he told me. So I'm literally, okay, so literally I have anomaly signals, so I'm here. I don't like it, okay? I'm just telling you point blank. I don't like being wired for a technology that I didn't authorize. I don't like having people have access to me or being able to remotely brain hack me. It's not okay. So
stand by. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. X Zone Nation's Solaris BlueRaven is our guest. And if you'd like to find out more about her, visit her website at www.nightshadowanomalydetectives.com. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We'll both be back after this break. Whatever you do, don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Exonation, Solaris BlueRaven is our special guest. And first of all, Solaris, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I've got to tell you something. I'm very familiar with MK Ultra because my mom was one of the targets in MK Ultra.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she went to the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal, which is part of the Learning Medical Center for McGill University. And her doctor sent her there because she was having massive migraines. While there, she was treated by Dr. Ewan Cameron. And there were several times when my mom came home and she was sent home with a nurse who would stay the evening until my dad got home. And I'll never forget her name, Mrs. Sangster. And we saw the changes in Mom. Now, I was just a wee kid back then, 5 or 6 years old. But it came to a point where my mom had to go. I don't know where she went, but my brother went with his godmother, and I went with my grandmother while Mom was being taken care of. And anyway, thank the good Lord, everything was taken care of. She was, I would say, deprogrammed. Mm-hmm. And she actually received a letter from Dr. Ewan Cameron apologizing. Mind you, what really ticked me off, the Canadian government knew about this, and they did nothing about it.
Right. Well, it doesn't surprise me at all, and I'm very, very pleased to know that she was able to recover, because most people have a hard time recovering, especially if they have alters. That's very difficult. And one thing I can tell you, the old MK Ultra is horrific, but this new one that they're deploying with this interconnection with the artificial intelligence, that thing's a monster, because you can't really disable it. It's a bombardment of it. It just invades your entire suit internally, so it's very, very dangerous.
So,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, dear. Would it be fair to say that, in your opinion, these UFO sightings have nothing to do with extraterrestrials, that they have everything to do with black ops?
Well, I guess I'm a little jaded, because I do know about a lot of the black sciences to a point where I understand very clearly that we have an advanced black space program. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure that most of the anomalies that people call anomalies of UFOs were probably more than likely connected to us, insofar as our black science department and our exotic technologies and reverse engineered craft technologies. But I'm not discounting off-world intelligence either. I do believe we have that. But I think everything here is completely airbrushed and censored to such an extent. We pretty much run the skies.
The fact that you're very intuitive, you're very psychically inclined, could this be one of the reasons why they chose you, because you were already halfway there?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's part of it. I fit the requirement, quote unquote, for the candidate that they were looking for. Yeah, I do think that.
How do you think they chose you? They selected you. Were you under surveillance for a period of time?
Well, if you look at my book and documentary, it involves a high-profile musician I sent a book to that put me on the radar, interconnected into a program, which pretty much just took my life out. So it all is step-by-step into, and I don't know if I should mention it because it's right in your territory, but I will say point blank that it has to do with a high-profile band that pulled me into the program covertly. And from that point on, it became a crazy fiasco of a lot of different other technologies and people and departments.
Were you part of the music scene?
No, not at all. My mother used to sing with her sisters when they were younger, but no, I'm a musician. I mean, in the sense that I play the flute and I write poetry, but that's about where it stops.
What do you think some of the telltale signs that our listeners can look out for, that what we are talking about this very hour is not science fiction, but in fact, it is real?
It's very real. And the telltale signs are, I'll tell you what, when they're doing a sweep and a surveillance around your house, I always mention, if it sounds like a television set's been left on and all of a sudden you're hearing white noise in your house, or something that sounds like static, or it sounds like a TV's been left on and you're walking around the house and you're trying to figure out what it is, chances are somebody's doing a sweep around your house. In other words, they're pinging, they're doing a scan. A lot of the time, people who are very psychic with a natural antenna will pick up on that. So they'll be able to hear things in those frequency bands naturally and tune in. Another thing is they'll always go into back doors, and so accessing your computers and your phones, they'll do a lot of that sort of surveilling. So you'll find that you'll start to get infiltrated on that level. And then eventually, if they find you to be a candidate for the technology with the transhumanism or the interface with artificial telepathy, they'll induct you one-on-one interconnected into the program. And that can be done through satellite-driven technologies. The old days used to do a lot of the ultra-low frequency and a lot of the Gwen towers, as I said earlier, but nowadays it's very smooth. They use things that are much more advanced.
What was it like when you finally met your handler?
I was so traumatized and programmed by him that I didn't even ask the right questions, to be honest with you. I wasn't even in my body because he had so many programs running in me of him that when I met him, it was just like completely complying. I couldn't believe how I was so handled by him. And that's not like me at all, to be honest. So,
what are your words of wisdom for the members of the X Zone Nation listening tonight and those who will listen to the archives?
Well, I would say point blank, if you find somebody who's been pulled into a covert program or has symptoms like this, don't just think they're crazy. Really try to figure out what's going on with them. Sure, there are people that have psychological breaks and this and that, but honestly, there is a technology out there that inducts people like this and will literally make them look like they're being interfered with, make them look schizophrenic or bipolar or something like that, when in fact they're being interconnected into a covert program. So I'd say use discernment, do the research, look at John Hall. Dr. John Hall's done satellite terrorism in America. We have Dr. Robert Duncan in my book, Side of the Remote. I mean, these are really good books to look at for a resource for information. And if you look at MK Ultra, as you well know, it's everywhere. You can access this data. You can look and find all the old archives from way back. So it's in there. Artificial intelligence is in there as well.
Why do you think so many people are into conspiracy theories these days?
Well, I think I don't want to say they're bored, but I think that there's a need to find answers. And unfortunately, they call it conspiracy, but actually what I think it is just the unseen. we're looking to reveal what's been hidden to us. And unfortunately, a lot of these technologies have been used for control manipulation. So when we reveal these things, now we can take a breath and say, wow, this is what's been going on all along. And we start putting these pieces of the puzzle together. So that's my take on it.
Do you think there is a shadow government, a government that is manipulating the public government?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Especially considering where I've been with that technology, yeah, there's definitely a shadow government calling the shots.
Are we in the age of the New World Order?
I believe so, but I also think that we're pushing to get through that and also, once again, revealing this and breaking down the paradigm of control and manipulation. I don't think any of us in any form wants to be controlled and manipulated, so that's why we're here.
When do you believe this all started?
Well, it started in 2004 was when I was inducted.
No, not you, sweetheart. The entire project.
Oh, gosh. Well, they had Project Paperclip. I know that. So we're talking at least prior to World War II insofar as the way the mind control was going. But I think insofar as what they're doing with these black satellite technologies, that's probably happened in the last 20 years. They've been escalating the technology with that. But I can imagine that prior to that, we were even doing this type of insidious mind control to some degree.
Can this mind control be put to good use?
Oh, yeah. Well, you can use it for accelerated learning. You can use it for sci-fi, as I said before. You can use it for a lot of productive things in covert surveillance. But at the same time, if you don't play their game, then they'll find a way to take you down. In other words, you have to comply with what they want. You have to think the way they want you to think, speak the way they want you to speak. I mean, it's literally censorship out the wazoo. Because if you don't comply with them, they'll take you down. If you want to stand up against them, forget it, you're done. So that's how that rolls.
Well, I'm just wondering if this technology exists. Why don't they use this technology to fight wars instead of bombing people, destroying hospitals, killing innocent children, killing innocent bystanders?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they have used it in the past. I believe in Afghanistan they've used it before with the voice of God, insofar as getting a certain group of people to surrender in the name of their God, whatever it is. But so, yeah, they do use it. But at this point in the continuum, they're not using it full blown. I still think the Super Soldier program is something that I believe that they're using insofar as advanced groups of people that are beyond special forces that probably have the artificial telepathy interface, just don't talk about it. It is a classified program. I mean, they're not going to sit there and talk about this stuff because it's something they can't talk about.
Gotcha. You've written a number of books. What is your next project going to be?
Right now, I'm working on a book about frequencies, healings, and also something to counter and heal people who have been subjected to torturous programs such as MKUltra and synthetic telepathy warfare and things like that. So that's my next project right now, is just working with the frequencies associated. And my last book was 1 Million Miles to Midnight. That just went live, by the way, but that's the spinoff of the technology I was interfaced with and looking through the eyes of the artificial intelligence versus me.
And I believe all your books are available on Amazon.com?
They certainly are, yeah.
And where can people get a copy of your DVD?
My DVD documentary, Either Remote or Disclosure and Covert Technology, is available on my website, Night Shadow Anomaly Detectives.
Listen, Solaris, I want to thank you ever so much for joining us. Great talking to you. Keep us in the loop. Keep us in the loop, would you?
I certainly will. It's been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you very much.
My great pleasure, too. Take care of yourself, young lady.
You too. Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
dear. X-Zone Nation, our guest this hour has been Solaris BlueRaven. Wow, what a story. She is a published author, producer, writer, educator, public speaker with a professional background in covert technology, surveillance, investigative research, healing modalities, and technology. She is known for her experience as a test pilot for synthetic telepathy black projects, of which she discloses in her book series, Eye of the Remote. She is a world-class psychic, clairvoyant, remote viewer, and system buster for MKUltra related programs. She is also a certified second-degree black belt and has an extensive background in advanced sciences and mystical alchemy. Now here's the website, www.nightshadowanomalydetectives.com. That's www.nightshadowanomalydetectives.com, and her books are available on Amazon.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, X-Zone Nation, you can check out 123 Ready TV just by going to xzbn.net, clicking on the link, and all the information that you'll ever need for this really great super one-time payment app is right there. I am Rob McConnell, and you know what? For the last 26 years, this has been a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we come to you Monday through Friday right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, and across Europe on Radio X and broadcast affiliates right around this world. Once again, if you'd like to find out more information on Solaris, her website is nightshadowanomalydetectives.com. Don't go away. I'll be back on the other side of this news break at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour.